I've been making YouTubes and live streaming and podcast type content for a number of years now, and I've slowly built up my kind of audio setup, but surprisingly with what might be considered a budget brand. And there's a reason for that. It's pretty good. So I thought I'd show you two audio setups that I use in my house for very different reasons, but all using the same budget brand. And that budget brand is Fifine. When I first started streaming, I knew I needed a microphone and a webcam. So I had your basic Logitech C920 or whatever it was. And I remember I picked up just a cheap microphone. I think this was it here for about, I don't know, 20 quid, if that, from Amazon. And off I went. And it sort of basically did the job. But ultimately, it wasn't very good. And the more live streaming you do, the more video content creation you do, you suddenly start getting all these kind of big brands, the Elgato, the Shure M7B, which is the pinnacle of all microphones, and Elgato, and all these kind of different things. And yeah, I've been tempted. And sure, I do have a Rode mic here, which is one of the big brands. Rode Pod mic, and I've been using that for quite some time. But overall, I tend to use this mic here, and this is the K68. If I just move it up here, the K688 from Fifine, and it looks like a Shure SM7 type microphone and all of that, like the podcasters use. It's got its own noise protection here, you know, so suspended here, and it's got a nice kind of foam covering here, and it's XLR cable and all of that. And actually, you know, it's a pretty good sound in my opinion. I really like it. I sort of double between this and the Tank 3. I can never quite make up my mind. I think I get a bit more plosives on this because I don't have like a covering on it. So I tend to lean towards this, although I think this is perhaps the slightly superior mic, but I tend to use this one. So these are both Fifine mics. So yeah, and I built up to this, as I said, through different microphones until I got to this, as I said, which is the K688 from Fifine. And I kind of really like it. You can be the judge. I'm recording this video at the moment on this. And for monitoring, I use these, which are the Fifine H8. Yeah, the H8 studio headphones. And they allow me to monitor the sound and stuff like that. And I can plug it straight into my computer, or I can plug it into the audio interface. So let's have a look at the audio interface. The audio interface I use is this here. If I hold it up, you can see it here. This is the Ampligame 1, and it allows me to plug in an XLR cable there. I can monitor the sound. I had to buy an extension here because it's a kind of the bigger microphone connection that you have if you want to monitor the sound. But I can monitor the sound with my H8s. If I take that out here, plug it in here, like that. And then I can monitor my sound. There we go. Oh, better put the monitor on. There we go. And then I can monitor my sound there. So I'm monitoring the sound coming through from my headphones through the audio interface like that. I'm just going to take the monitor off 1 second. So yeah, so let's have a bit closer look at this, which is the, as I said, the K688. The great beauty of the K688 is that it is both USB and XLR. Now, I prefer using an XLR cable. You kind of that analog signal, you get a slightly better sound, I think, than a digital sort of signal and processing that computer does when you use a USB-C cable, although it's getting very close. But if you don't have an audio interface, like the Ampli 1 interface that I'm using here, down here, I've got my little camera going on here. If you don't have an audio interface like the Ampli 1, then, as I said, USB-C, plug it straight into your laptop, plug it straight into your computer, and off you go. And then you get controls. You can monitor. At the back here, it's got a gain control. I'll just lift this up. At the back, basically, you've got your gain control and your monitor controls you can hear. So you can plug straight into the back of this. If it's plugged in with USB-C, you can plug your headphones straight into the back of the microphone like you would in any kind of professional situation and monitor your own sound. So that's why I use this. And then, of course, I want a nice mic arm to put this on. and one that sits low, like a sort of a podcast type mic. So of course, what's my choice? It's this over here. You can see here. This is the low profile from Fifine. So it's another Fifine product. Unbelievable. And as I'm talking to you to now as well, I'm also using a little Fifine lapel mic here with my DJI. So DJI does come with a microphone, but I've got these Fifine ones here, which I can use with different things. So some of this audio is being recorded via this microphone, the K688, and some is being recorded with these little Fifine lapel mics here. Anyway, back to this. So this is one of those solid, low profile arms, just sort of swings like that on the desk. I can tuck it away when I don't need it. I'm using this microphone now. When I don't need it, I can tuck it away over there and we're all good. It's really neat and it gives it a real professional looking. I love the podcast style. Let's go back to this microphone here. I love the podcast style of this microphone arm. And yeah, you can get more expensive ones, but this just looks really sleek. It's not got like lots of branding on it or anything like that. It's solid. It comes with a little Allen key, so you can sort of tighten it up and stuff like that. Comes from different bolts, so you have a 3/8 inch adapter and a 5/8 inch adapter as well. As I said, you've got a little Allen wrench. There's 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch adapters in addition to that. It's got a ball head on the front here, on this bit here. So yeah, really, really cool. But it's not the only mic arm they do. It's just that I have used other mic arms, cheaper ones, and they tend to have sort of springs on them, and you just have to touch that microphone arm gently, and you get that kind of boing sound. So yeah, so that is basically, this is my setup. This is my audio setup, yeah, that I use on a regular basis on I'd say nearly all of my videos. Things can change, but I like this. I like the Ampli One audio interface over here. I like the fact that it's sort of black, it's sleek looking. You can plug an instrument into it as well if you really want to. But for me, I'm just using it for the microphone, the XLR connection like that, and the ability it has. I can change the gain on the front here and stuff like that. I like the sleek, more podcast style look that this kind of gives me here with this low boom arm from Fifine, the Fifine K688 microphone and all of that. I just kind of like that overall aesthetic. But what if you're more of a gamer type? Well, I also have a complete Fifine setup that my son uses for gaming, which is a bit more sort of RGB influenced, but again, all from Fifine. So let's check that one out. Okay, this is my son's gaming setup here, and he also is using Fifine audio equipment for his setup, starting with this, which is of course the Ampligame AM8. It is a USB and XLR mic. Now he has this plugged in with an XLR cable, comes separately, okay, and that plugs into this. This is the Ampligame SC3. Okay, so mine is the Ampli 1 or the SC1. This is the Ampligame SC3. As you can see on it here, you've got these various controls. You can control your mic level there. You've got a line in, you can control your line in. So it's basically an audio mixer. Now it is fairly limited in what it can do in terms of mixing and stuff like that. But if you're into sort of game streaming, or you want to be able to control your audio when you're playing with your mates and stuff, and have ease access and quick mute buttons and stuff like that, you've got all that control on here. You can monitor your mic here as well with the headphones plugged into the back. So for instance, my son plugs his headphones rather straight into his PC, plugs it into the Fifine audio face. This is the Fifine Ampligame H9 gaming headset in white, or my son's been using these quite a lot, so maybe a little bit off-white. I also have these in black, but I tend to game less than him, and I like to use the studio monitors, the H9 ones. But these are really cool, and I have loads of gaming headsets, and my son is very fussy about what he sounds like and the sound he likes and all of that, and he always comes back to these. That's why he's always using these, because his friends who he plays online with reckon he sounds so much better with these compared to other much more expensive gaming headsets. So there we are. That is the Amplagame H9 gaming headset. So he uses the mic for the gaming when he's in the game, and then he might use this mic here, the Amplagame H8 mic here with its RGB, as you can see here. At the moment we're using XLR cable here, and so I've just plugged a USB-C cable. I'll take that out. I plugged the USB-C cable in there so it all lights up, so you get that gaming aesthetic. He's using the XLR cable plugged into the SC3 here, the audio mixer SC3, so you don't get control over the RGB and all of that. But if you want the RGB, you can plug this. The great thing about these mics, you can plug them straight in using USB-C, so you don't need an XLR cable, which doesn't come with it. So there we are. As you can see, if I plug in a bit of USB-C power, you can see, and you've got a mute control over the mic just by tapping it over up here. You can also monitor your own sound directly through this if you're using the USB, and you've got a gain control as well on the front as well, just here. I put this on a mic arm here. This is not the Fifine mic arm. Sorry, Fifine, I didn't have that mic arm, but they do a cheap mic arm like this, which is your basic kind of spring-loaded mic arm there, not quite as sleek as my other Fifine microphone arm that I have downstairs on my own setup. So that's basically my son's audio setup. Amplagame H8, which I will do a review, I will do a sound test on that so you can hear it. Okay, so this is what the Fifine Amplagame H8 sounds like. I'm recording this on my system downstairs. Here's the microphone, as you can see. I really like this in terms of a gaming mic or a streaming mic because it's quite robust. You can move your head quite a bit. I think it just, it may not have the kind of quite the clarity of the K688 and all of that, but I still think it's really, really good. Plugged in with an XLR cable. See there. Going through my Amplagame Ampli 1 SC1 audio mixer. But again, this is what my son uses when he's talking to his mates, when he's game streaming and all of that. I didn't record this on my son's gaming PC because he didn't have OBS set up for some reason at the time, so I'm having to borrow the mic and put it on my setup, but basically it sounds the same anyway. But I just wanted you to hear what this sounds like if you're considering this for your gaming setup. I have a full review of this, you can check that out there. The great thing about the Amplagame SC3 audio mixer is you've got a 48 volt booster there if you're using condenser mic. Of course, this isn't a condenser mic. You've got an auto tune thing here for electric. Then you've got these custom buttons so you can record basically a little sample, which I kind of use for comedic effect and stuff. You can see that, check that out in my full review of this. Obviously you've got the mute buttons on the front so you can mute your sound really quickly. If you're using the XLR cable straight into the audio mixer, then the button here doesn't really work with the XLR, but you don't need it because you're using a mixer unit like this. So you just press the mute button and you're kind of muted. Same with the line in and then line out as well. You can mute. You can change the colors here. So you get all this sort of functionality, which is really cool. You've got a voice changer, which is quite fun. And then I say these custom buttons. It's not like the most amazing mixer, and if you're sort of mixing for streaming and stuff and all of that, you might not have the flexibility that you kind of necessarily want. But as a gaming setup, a basic entry-level gaming setup, you've got the RGB lights and all of that on the microphone here, as I said, so it looks really cool, and you can alter all of that. XLR and USB connections, so you don't need XLR, you can just use the USB-C, plug it straight into a computer, and you're off to go. Really good quality. I really like this. It's also very flexible in terms of you move your head a lot. You can check out my main review of the H8, and I do a full-on audio test, and you can get the sound of that. As you can see, a nice basic gaming headset. And as I said, with all the Fifine stuff, especially these headsets and stuff like that, and this microphone, it really punches above its weight in terms of sound quality. And as I say, for the purposes of this record here, I'm using the Fifine little audio mic here. So there you go, just 2 audio setups if you're into making video content, podcasts, live streaming, whatever it is, all using fairly low cost but great value audio equipment. You don't have to rush out the door. Suddenly you decide you want to make YouTube videos. Yeah. Suddenly you decide you want to do live streaming. You don't have to rush out the door and buy all Elgato products, right? Because all the big YouTubers use it. You don't have to rush out and buy a Shure SM7B or anything like that. No, there are budget options, value options, I'd rather say, value options, especially from companies like Fifine, that I really like because A, they punch well above their weight when it comes to audio quality, and B, I just think they look good. Don't you think they look good? I mean, the Tank 3, I mean, check that out. Yeah? Doesn't that look good? Really nice. And the Shure, yeah? And this, I nearly called it a Shure SM7B there. No, the K688 looks really, really nice as well. So there you go. I hope you found this video useful. I hope you find it interesting. If you did, then please hit the likes because I like it. YouTube likes it and it helps people like you find content like this. And if you're new to my channel, then please do me the great honor. Hit the subscribe button, toggle that notification bell, and that way you'll know when I go live with videos just like this. And talking of videos just like this, why don't you check out the videos right here? These ones here. Thanks for watching.